hit it once just to make. Yep, I can. Okay, everybody, we're going to start the training webinar for Memory Glass products. We have with us Kim Price, who's the Vice President of Sales for Memory Glass, who lives in balmy Florida and was just complaining that it was so hot there that she's got to turn on her air conditioning. So we all feel really bad for her right now. Anyway, but Kim is also serves on the CANA board with our beloved Shannon Asmus, so we have some other ways of knowing her other than just through our Memory Glass relationship here. So I'm pleased to present Kim Price. She'll be conducting the seminar from this point forward. If you have questions, by all means, just ask, and we'll get you taken care of during the course of the webinar. So Kim, without any further ado, please take over.
Thanks so much. It's very exciting to be with you guys today, and I'm really thrilled to be a part of the Verton Group and the things that you're going to be offering your families. In addition to being the Vice President of Sales of Memory Glass, I'm also a co-owner, so I definitely have a vested interest in your success, not only for your families and to support them, but for your business as well as my business. So I wanted to start off by giving you some contact information. And the email address you see there on the screen, info@memoryglass.com, would connect you directly to our facility, which is located in Goleta, California, which is near Santa Barbara. And that is also their main number, 866-488-4554. Later on, at the end of the presentation, I'll give you my personal information as well, so you'll have two ways of contacting us. A little information about Memory Glass. We began operations in 2002. We were the first the first company in the funeral space to incorporate cremated remains into glass during the glass blowing process. It is not an alternative to an urn sale. It's a memorialization piece for the family to keep. It only takes 1/4 teaspoon of cremated remains, and you'll see there that we can also use earth as well, which would be sand or soil from a meaningful place such as the grave or perhaps a vacation spot, something like that. We can also do that as well. We also provide laser etching. We can do a fingerprint, or we can also do names, initials, dates, so forth. I'll explain a little bit more of that as we go along. But the laser etching also opens our product line up to all families, because they could use cremated remains within the piece or soil. They could add a fingerprint or just do a fingerprint solely on its own as well. And then also, I want to stress that each of our products are individually created, so they're not already sitting on a shelf waiting to add the cremated remains. Everything is done at the time that you send the order to us. It is individually created. And it's a 2 to 4 week turnaround from the time that we receive the cremated remains at our facility. We can do rush orders, but we suggest that you call us directly at the facility to find out the length of time it will take to get the piece. The reason I say that is if it's a pendant or a touchstone, we can turn it around much more quickly, and it's going to be less expensive with the shipping because it's a lighter weight product versus an orb, which takes 2 or 3 days to create and then also weighs a bit more for shipping purposes. So it is available, but it kind of is on a case-by-case basis as you need it. Again, just reiterating to you that although we started out as a cremation product, we are for every family, every time, cremated remains, earth and soil, and prints. One thing that we're very, very proud of is our chain of custody. We believe that our security is like no other in the business, and we have passed a lot of the top corporations' stringent guidelines for what that chain of custody must look like. So it's our highest priority, and we treat the cremated remains or the soil with utmost respect and treat it, as if it were a member of our own family. We do have video cameras at every stage of the development of the product, beginning with when we receive your order in the studio, right there at the station. We will open the package that you send to us under the video camera, take a clear picture of the vial that you send to us with the decedent's name on it, as well as the copy of the order form. We're then going to barcode both of those pieces and put it into its own individual bin where it stays the duration of the process. So in other words, the bin is moved from station to station during the course of the process. It's not just put on a shelf with a lot of other vials. There's no opportunity for mix-up or anything like that. It's very stringent. Only one order is created at a time, and the tables are, again, sanitized in between each product as we make it. And again, a camera at every station. We have a $5 million liability insurance policy that we can add you to as additional insured at no charge. We have never had to make a claim, but we do like to make you aware that we do have that for your protection as well and comfort. Does anybody have any questions so far before I move on to the products? Okay, so we're just going to take a quick run through the products. First of all, we have our memory glass pendant, which is always going to come on the black cord that you see here. We do have sterling silver chains available for additional purchase if someone is interested, but most people will either, even though it's not intended to be a permanent way to wear the pendant, most people will continue to wear it on the black cord or will simply switch it to a chain that they already have. Though the cremated remains are the white flecks that you see at the center of the collar portion of the pendant. We suggest only one color per pendant. You'll see in a later slide the different colors that are available. And the color palette that you'll see in the brochures and so forth is the same color palette throughout all of our product lines. So in some of the products you can use more than one color, but we suggest for the pendants just one color because the space is so small on there that the colors will bleed together, and eventually, like if you wanted blue and red, it's going to make purple and it just doesn't look very nice. So we suggest only one color for the pendants. And the same would go for the touchstones. The cremated remains are on the outer portion of the touchstone. It's about the size of a silver dollar, and it's meant to be carried in your hand or in your purse. It's got a really nice, comforting weight to it. Families really love this product. It's one of my favorites. It's going to come also in this 3D suspension box. So it's like a frame that can be used for display, to display the touchstone either immediately or at a later time when the family's no longer carrying it with them. We've also had some very interesting creative uses that some families have done. There have been brides that have had the florist incorporate the touchstone into their bouquets so their father can still walk with them down the aisle. As well, we've had brides that have worn the pendants. We also find that later on you'll see some orbs, and people will use those as night lights. I know of a particular story that I find very interesting. There was a funeral director in the Panhandle, Florida, who used to go surfing with his very best friend. And his very best friend passed away, unfortunately. So this funeral director had a permanent placement of a touchstone into his surfboard, and so he still actually goes surfing with his friend. So it's kind of a versatile product. People do all kinds of things, but again, it was meant to just be kind of carried with them as a worry stone. Then we have the original orb designs, the Galaxy, Embrace, and Swirl, and these are the ones that we began the company with. And you'll see that they're clear. The orb itself is pretty clear, and then it has the colors that you see in there are colored glass crystals, and that is what they use to make the design. So we suggest 2 color combinations in any of these designs. Occasionally, we'll get a family that will say, can we have 4 or 5 colors? And the answer is yes, we'll do that at no additional charge. However, we can only do that in the Galaxy and Swirl design. No more than 2 colors in this Embrace design, because as you can see, it's kind of a more intricate, convoluted design. And so if we get more than 2 colors in there, they fight with each other, and it's just not very attractive. So to keep things simple, we say just offer 2 colors. And then if people ask if they could have more than that, the answer is yes, but only in the Galaxy and the Swirl. Are there any questions on that? Okay. Then moving on, we also have what is called optional wraps in 2 designs. One is the coil wrap and one is the wave wrap. And these wraps are permanently adhered to the orb. It's not something that can be taken on or off the glass. It is permanently affixed to it. It's just another opportunity for a family to personalize the piece. The wraps would come in any one of the colors offered, so that could introduce a 3rd color into the orb. So if they have 2 colors here, they could add a 3rd color down here, and that's how they get more color involved with the piece. Or they can use a color that is used within the orb itself as well. The orbs will stand on their own. It's not necessary to have a wrap. but the wrap again is just an additional decorative feature, and we do not charge extra for the wraps. We had feedback from several families through our funeral homes that they really liked the orbs, but they wished that they were a little more colorful. So in response to that, my partner designed the Solid Color Galaxy. And in this piece, it's easiest to see the cremated remains in the slideshow. So in all of the pieces, the cremated remains that you see are the brilliant white, but this one particularly shows it the best. That's why I waited until now to show you. It's the solid color, so it would come in any one color, but that really shows off the cremated remains very nicely, and it's very pretty. I'll point out here that if we were to use soil or sand instead of the brilliant white, it would be more of an off-white color. It's still very pretty, and it looks very, very similar to what the cremated remains look like. It's just not quite as brilliant white. And the only exception to that would be is if you were to use a red or an orange colored type clay, that is going to retain its orange or red color. And it's beautiful still. I've seen several of them. It's very pretty, but they would just need to keep that in mind when they're choosing the color that they want it to be placed in. The orbs come in two sizes, both a large, which is about the size of a softball, and a small, which is about the size of a baseball. So that's the easiest way to explain the difference. The displays that you have will all be the small. We used to send a small and a large in our display pieces, and we began just sending smalls, and that's when we saw an increase in the size of large orbs that we sell. It's kind of the American supersize it concept, I think. So it actually has worked out to the advantage to just show the smalls, but if you would ever desire a large orb, you can let us know, and we can certainly send that to you. Another design that we did in response to customer feedback is we designed a heart. Many families like the concept of the cremated remains within the glass, but they didn't necessarily want to see them. So as you look directly at this heart, you don't see any cremated remains, but if you were to look from the top or the bottom, you see them at the core of the heart right there. We have found that although we'll do two color combinations, sometimes it seems to be safest to just choose one color. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes people will select two colors for these, and it might turn out looking a little bit too realistic, like a heart, like an actual heart. And so we've now gone to guiding just to offer one color in this, but we'll certainly do it if they insist. All of our products, as far as the orbs and hearts go, look absolutely beautiful when they're illuminated. So we have 3 different types of LED light stands available to do this. The first 2 here are wooden stands, and they are handmade in our studio. They do require an electric plug-in, so they would need to be near an outlet. They do have the LED lights, as I was mentioning, and it comes with a lifetime guarantee. So if someone leaves their stand plugged in 24/7, 365, it's going to last between 7 and 8 years. So it does still last a long time, but at the end of that period of time, the lights are going to burn out. So they can just return the stands directly to us, and we'll replace the lights free of charge. And again, that's for the duration of their lives. Or you can have them return them to you, so you can have another opportunity to interface with the family as well, and you can send them back to us. It's however you'd like to guide the family. Another benefit of the wooden stands, the larger one wholesales for $60 and the small for $40. That's not necessarily a benefit, I guess, but that's the pricing I wanted to give you. But the benefit to the wooden stands is that they can also, there's room to put an engraved plate on both of those. And on the large stand, it would be 3 lines of 22 characters. And on the small stand, it would be 2 lines of 22 characters. And of course, we'll do that free as well. And then finally, another way to illuminate it is we've recently, in the last 2 years, begun offering a battery-operated stand. And this is by far the top seller at this point. It's affordable. It's only $10 wholesale. So more families seem to go ahead and feel comfortable purchasing that. It's operated by 3 AA batteries. Again, it's LED lighting. Just depends on how long they burn them before they have to replace the batteries. But a drawback to this is that it does not have the ability, we cannot put an engraved plate on there. However, it does not need a plug-in, so it's mobile. So that's an advantage of it. Another thing that we can do, a few years ago we began doing this offering and people are really, really liking it. We can put 2 sets of cremated remains in the same piece, yet the individual maintains we can still identify who is who by the collars that they're mixed with. So in this example, we mixed mom's cremated remains with the pink glass and dad's with the blue, and they're together forever, yet 2 distinct individuals. We can also do that concept in pendants and touchstones, but the remains would need to be commingled in those. But you know, if they want something with their mom and dad or whoever their loved ones might be together forever, if they want a pendant or a touchstone, they're not going to mind the commingling. So that is together forever, and then we can also do the together forever in the swirl and the galaxy as well. I'm not sure if any of your locations does any pet business or not, but we have done several of these for pet families and especially the swirl design. Sometimes, of course, there's multiple pets in a family during the lifetime, and so we've put up to 4 or 5 pets in the same piece, just everybody's a different color, and that's a nice way to put all the pets together. So just keep that in mind if you ever have a need for that as well.
Kim, I have one question.
Sure.
Would you, if somebody sent you part human, part pet, would you put one of each of those inside of one orb?
Sure, if that's what they wanted, absolutely. We've already done that, in fact. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, a very sad story, but it was also very moving. About a month after we started doing this product, unfortunately, there was a mother and her 2 daughters that were in a car accident and unfortunately didn't make it. And so the dad had a swirl piece done with all 3 of them together in the same piece. So that's obviously very moving and very meaningful to him. And it's nice, especially with the ages of the young children, that they were all still able to be together there. So we can do whatever the family would like. So just, if you're not sure, just give us a call and ask us and we'll sure help out.
Got it. Thanks.
You're welcome. Then our latest product is the Stars and Stripes. We love our veteran families and our first responders and all the patriotic Americans out there, and wanted to give them an option of a way to memorialize their loved ones. So in this particular piece, the red, the white, and the blue is all colored glass, and we do use the cremated remains to make the stars. So that's kind of cool, I think, that the loved one is in the stars. So that's becoming a very popular piece when it's appropriate. The one thing I would say is I actually had a friend that I made one for, and the soil that he sent to me. Can you see? Did I mess up my screen?
No, still good.
The soil that he sent to me was red, so his stars came out red. It was okay. He was good about it, but you just want to keep that in mind if you are ever using, like I said, the red or the orange clay. Otherwise, it's beautiful with soil and looks just like white stars. And then again, to honor veterans, we offer a free pendant or touchstone to anyone that has purchased an orb or a heart. And then this is our patented laser engraving process. We do hold the patent on laser engraving fingerprints on glass with cremated remains. We're very proud of that. It's going to engrave on any of the surfaces of any of our products. It's most commonly done on the pendant and the touchstone. It's going to be slightly raised to the touch so you can actually feel the print, which is really cool. It's like holding hands with your loved one. And you can have it put on the orbs and the hearts as well. In those cases, usually it's put on the bottom of the orb or the heart, but it can certainly be put on the curved surface as well. So it really depends on where the family would like it. And the way that you send the prints to us, you can either use a high resolution scan and send it to us via email, or you can also do the old-fashioned paper and ink. That works just as well. If you choose to do the paper and ink, though, we ask that you send us 4 or 5 sets of prints just so that we can get the absolute best clarity possible. And sometimes it's just best to have a number of options to choose from with the paper and ink. Also, we engrave an order number on the bottom of the orbs and the hearts. We do this in the event that perhaps there's multiple pieces of memory glass in a family, and as it's passed down, perhaps even though we send an authentication certificate of who is in the glass when we send the order to you at fulfillment, but maybe that's gotten lost over the years or there's some confusion. you can call Memory Glass and give us the order number, and we can tell you exactly whose remains are in that piece of glass. Also, with regard to the fingerprint, we've been doing it about 5 years, and so far there haven't been any prints that have rubbed off, no matter how much the people have, stroked it. But we can't tell you what's going to happen in 10 years. We like to think that it would never rub off, but because we don't know for sure, we retain that fingerprint. It is kept on a secure server, and if it ever does rub off, then they can send the piece back to us. We'll file that surface down to make it very, very smooth, and then we'll just simply reapply the fingerprint. So it is a forever thing as well. Are there any questions on the products before I move on to the other items? Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about how to sell memory glass and what those customers that have the best success have been doing. And probably the most important thing is to put it in the arrangement office where your families are sitting and making the arrangements, instead of getting it lost in the arrangement room where there are a number of other items. And oftentimes families walk in those rooms and are just overwhelmed by the sheer number of choices that they can make. Because memory glass is such a personal, tangible piece of glass, it does much better if it's in the same room where the family can be introduced to it, or may pick it up on their own and ask what it is. So have it in the family's line of vision and illuminate it on one of the stands. And often they'll be asking you, what is that, before you're even presenting it to them. Another thing is to have them hold the memory glass. And one way to do that is to either just pass them an orb, or perhaps if you have the touchstone handy, I think that is a real connecting point, because all of the displays will have a fingerprint on it as well. So it's easy to say, this is an affordable, this is something that's a little different you might want to consider. It's affordable, and it's a very unique way of remembering your loved one. You get that in their hands, and they connect with the texture of that fingerprint, and it almost just absolutely sells itself. So that is something that I would definitely suggest. You can also show them the pendants of that as well. And another way is to get your own piece of memory glass. So we know, at least I personally know myself, that if I believe in something, I can talk about it all day long. If I believe that it has value and merit, then I'm a great salesperson, because I'm not really selling it. I'm sharing my belief and how it has helped me. So if you have cremated remains or soil or sand or something from a loved one, that from a special place, or even a print of someone that's living or has passed, we would be happy to make one free pendant or touchstone for anyone there at the funeral homes that meet with families. So it's going to help the funeral director to emotionally connect themselves with the product, and it's then easier to share the product with others. So I really urge you to take advantage of that. When you get to the ordering process later, when you're ordering it online, let's say you decide that you're going to order a touchstone and it's for Joe Smith, the funeral director there, you're just going to put in the notes section, free touchstone per Kim price for the funeral director, and they'll know then that's why that you're not going to be charged for that particular piece. So it's just a great way to have your own piece of memory glass and to be easier to talk about with others. It's also a great way to practice that online ordering system. Now, one thing to remember to stress to the families when you get into the conversation is that it is a one-of-a-kind memorial keepsake. No two are exactly alike, just like no two fingerprints are alike. Their loved one is a unique individual, and this is a very unique way of remembering them. It's something tangible that they can hold in their hands. They can always have that 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week connection to it, where if they do a scattering of the ashes, or if they inurn them, or if they have a traditional burial space, it's not always convenient to go to the cemetery or memorial, or maybe the middle of the woods or wherever they scatter at 3 o'clock in the morning. But if they have that memory glass, they always have a part of their loved one there with them, and they connect with it, especially that night light. That is such a comforting thing. So that is just something that is important to keep in mind. That is a real advantage of memory glass. It also helps begin the healing process as they're designing their piece. What were their loved one's favorite colors? Was there a favorite sports team that they would use the colors of that, and so forth? And then another thing is, everyone in this world today, it seems that it's a modern it's a very mobile lifestyle. People are moving all the time. Families are unfortunately geographically challenged all over the country and can't always be in the same spot where they can go visit a gravesite. So this is a way that you can, if you move, you can take it with you very easily, or if you're all spread all over the country, then everybody can have a reminder of their loved one. Online ordering is very simple. If you can order on Amazon, you can order on our website. It's very, very simple. So you're going to go to vendors.memoryglass.com. First of all, let me say that if you have not already received your display, when you receive it, you'll also receive detailed ordering instructions. So don't worry about necessarily writing any of this down right now because it will be on the information that's sent to you. But it takes you to its own dedicated vendor's website. You will have a user ID and a password that will be with your instructions. So you enter that, and then you're going to click on the Ready to Place an Order tab down in the left-hand column, and that will immediately take you to the ordering process. On the left-hand side, you get to pick from what products that you would like. So if you pick a pendant, it's then going to move you to the next screen, and it's going to ask you what color, are you adding a print, and so forth, the decedent's name, and so forth. So that's super easy. On the right-hand of that particular screen, you can also order update kits, which would include the vials and more brochures and so forth. We know that consumers want memory glass. We've participated in several focus groups over the last few years, and we have consistently ranked in the top 3 out of 10 products that the families were presented with, and that they said that they definitely would have bought memory glass had they known it was an option at the time of need. And in many cases, some of them were upset because they didn't know about it and it was too late to do a print and so forth. So it is something that we know that families want, as well as the fact that we've had steady growth over the last 17 years, and we just keep growing. Oops. We also know consumers want memory glass because we had a video that went viral a couple of years ago on Facebook. It had 17 million views in 5 days. And that led to an unprecedented response of people actually coming into funeral homes asking, do you have this product? And it was either yes or no. And if it was no, the family said, we want you to get this product. We want this. And that is kind of unheard of. I don't think probably many of you experience people just coming into your funeral homes saying what they want. Normally when they're there, they don't want to be there. They don't want to come back. And so this was something that was it was exciting for us as a company, but it was also very telling about our product. And then here is a video. This is the actual video that went viral. It's just a sped up version of how we make an orb. It's also on our homepage, and they're putting a wrap on right there at that point in time. And it was crazy, the response that we got to that video. One other thing I will say before I close, and we'll obviously have questions, we do have a retail site as well, but I want to assure you that that is something that we consider that you can use as a tool. So if you were just to go to memoryglass.com, we know, first of all, that families are in the arrangement office, and they're sitting there and they're thinking, oh my gosh, I bet I could get this so much cheaper if I went directly to the company. What they're going to find is that they cannot. We have elevated our prices significantly on the retail website. We do about 1% of our business there. We constantly try to guide them back to you, the local vendor. We charge extra for wraps. We charge extra for engraving. We charge, extra for everything on that, plus the elevated pricing to begin with. So feel free, if a family's kind of on the fence and not sure if they want it, encourage them to go ahead and look at memoryglass.com. They're going to see several things on there and different products, and they're going to come back to you because the pricing is definitely more advantageous for them to come to you. Before I close, before the questions, I just want to point out my personal information here. Kim@memoryglass.com. Again, there's the main facility number and then my personal cell number. I am located in Tampa, Florida. Our facility is in the Santa Barbara area out in California. So you've got East Coast, West Coast time zones, which gives you an extended work day. So you can usually catch one of us. I'm happy to help you in any way if you need me to walk you through an ordering process, or if you have any questions or anything at all, just feel free to reach out to me or to the main facility number. There's a woman out there named Vanessa who will be answering the phone most of the time. and she's great. And if she doesn't know the answer, she will certainly get you the answer. So just please take advantage of that. And I'll open it up to questions.
Any questions from anyone out there? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Kim, hi, my name is Lori, and I work with the Burton Company on the pre-need side of the business.
Yes,
I'm
Lori.
wondering how, hi, have you seen much luck with people on the pre-need side of the business with pre-funding these in advance?
Well, we do have several companies that offer it as part of their pre-need package. I personally don't have a way of knowing if it's, that's an interesting question as far as tracking, you know, when it is filled, but I've never heard any complaints from those that have been doing it. Let's put it to you that way. So it's possible, yes. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
You must be very thorough because everybody seems to. Anyone else?
Great presentation.
Well, please make sure to take advantage of the information, the contact information. We want you to be successful. You know, we want the families to be taken care of. My husband grew up in a funeral home. He's been in the business over 50 years. I've been in the business over 25. So we definitely understand the first and most important thing is taking care of your families, and we want to help you do that in any way possible. So don't ever hesitate to reach out.
And I have one question I'm seeing through the chat from Allison. If we have brochures that we can show everyone, excuse me, through Memory Glass, and those will all be coming with your display kit. I think I was a little ahead of where Memory Glass was with their shipping process of the display kit. So if you haven't received yours yet, over the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, hopefully tops, you should be receiving your full display, which should have all of the startup materials that you need. And if you don't, you certainly can reach out to myself or Kim directly for assistance, excuse me.
Absolutely. And we also have, you know, an electronic version of the brochure. So if you feel that there's a family you want to show it to in the meantime, I believe you already have that, Tom, but I can certainly send it to you again and you can distribute it or however you'd like to handle that. I'd just like to assure everybody that, I think I said this in the training, but you know, our at-need family business comes first. So we do those orders first, and that's how you're going to want it once your families are placing the orders. It just takes a little longer to get those display pieces out. So we ask, you know, your patience with us there, but they should be out within the next month. It's a 4 to 6 week process. I'm hoping it's closer to the 4 weeks, but I can't promise because my partner will club me. So just let us know if you need anything prior to that, and I can see what I can do for you.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Any other questions before we close this off? Okay, well, Kim, we thank you very much. I have recorded this and I'll send this back out to everyone for those that weren't able to attend or want to freshen back up with some of the details. And in the meantime, if anyone has any questions, reach out to Kim or myself and we'll help you in any way we can. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.